Simran Samtani is enabling entrepreneurs to build profitable, scalable, and sustainable businesses. She's an ex-banker. 16 years ago, she co-founded together with her husband accounting and bookkeeping company, Xcel. In this conversation, she speaks about what you can do to manage your personal and company finances. She will share tips on how to collect money from your clients because, as she said, revenue is just on paper. What counts is the cash. Nowadays, Simran is helping people to manage their finances in the time of crisis. She created a free cash flow challenge on Facebook where she has already helped almost 400 people. Simran, thank you very much for joining Dubai Business Podcast. Let's start with speaking about your cash flow challenge, which you created on Facebook.
Yes.
Can you tell me what led you to creating it?
Actually, it was a spur of the moment decision. I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people regarding the situation when it hit us, and I was trying to analyze what was happening. So what happened when the corona hit us? It was kind like of a punch in our face, so nobody knew where it came from. Nobody knew what hit us. We didn't know what caused it. We were just put in this thing unprepared, totally unprepared. So a lot of people were frozen, didn't know what to do, didn't know how to act. And I've been through some financial challenges in the past. We've all been through at some level or the other. And I've seen very, very close family members also go through it. So what happens when money related things happen, there are a lot of emotions involved, more than anything else. So it could be shame, it could be guilt, it could be anger, it could be anxiety, it could be panic. And these shift, there is sadness. So what happened is, especially when the situation arose, people didn't come prepared. So some people in terms of money came with a 3-month buffer, 6-month buffer, maybe a negative buffer or a 1-month buffer. Now, all of a sudden, even people who owed us money stopped kind of, taking advantage and not paying us. Some genuinely couldn't pay us. So even though people have prepared themselves for eventualities, nobody really prepared themselves for a zero revenue, which a lot of industries initially got hit, like the travel industry, like, the hospitality industry. All of a sudden, there were huge costs, but zero revenues. And however prepared you are, this is a very scary kind of a situation. And so having gone through all this, what I thought is we can't make drastic changes. So let's go penny by penny. Let's start looking at the positives in the situation. Let's start looking small. And so I created this challenge with a hope that every penny counts, every dirham counts. And I did a 5-day challenge helping people to navigate this in a small step, because action takes you out of your frozen state. A small action, people can't really think beyond at that time. Sometimes your thinking is paralyzed. So I started putting things that anybody could do. So like my first day, it was just looking at all the subscriptions we've had and trying and canceling the subscriptions we don't need. Because what happens when we're busy, we've gone and subscribed to small amounts like $5, $10, $20. I myself realized that I had a Photoshop subscription and I'd left photography 2 years back, but my $10 kept, going from my credit card, which at that time I didn't thinking I'll get into it, why cancel it? And I myself realized I had another time tracking software that I'm paying $70 a month, which I'd moved to another system and running them parallelly for a few months. So when you start counting, so what I felt is even the money saved is money earned, right? So it started with that. And the second day I said, start looking at what we're not spending since we are not going out. We're not spending on the coffees we would just go out and have with friends, on eating out we're not spending. I'm like a BNI member. Since the meetings went online, we used to spend 115 per week as meeting fees. So straight away 400, 500 dirhams saving a month. And if you count it for 3 months, then even that money saved is actually going to stretch whatever buffer we started longer. So if we came with a 3-month buffer, we moved to a 4-month, 5-month buffer. We came with a 1-month buffer. We use what we have currently with us and stretch it.
Simran, and also, sorry for cutting you, but how it will help me to understand what I'm saving actually during this time?
Is actually noting down what you're saving on from your last last time's credit card, a lot of people have said at least 50% savings in their credit card bills, because what came in March and what came in April, eating out has almost stopped. So, if you start targeting and writing down the things that you've saved, counting how much you've saved, when we go back, right, we're not really going to spend at the same level. And
Okay.
we can, I'm not saying don't spend at all, okay, but we will be cautious of what we enjoy, and we will spend. I'm not saying we'll go zero on eating out, we'll all wait to go out or whatever, but we'll realize that a lot of things we've spent on, we need not spend on, because a lot of our spending is also emotional.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I guess the step one to understand what I'm spending on is to somehow track
Track it.
my spending,
Track it.
which
Track
many
it.
people are still not doing.
Yeah. So
How would
that's,
you recommend
yeah.
to start with that?
Is actually, you can start it as a game. Okay. There are days right now also you feel like ordering food from outside if you're not ordering in, and then you realize that, okay, I'm not going to order in, I'm going to eat home. So how much is your normal bill you would pay on eating out? You will note it down, and it's like a game. How much did I save? Can I go on a no spend day? Can I continuously do 3 days of no spend or 5 days of no spend and extend it? So the more fun you bring in your tracking mechanism, the more good you'll feel about yourself, because you're not going and doing anything extra. you're
Okay.
not you're not doing anything extra in this. Another thing you could do is hold an accountability group. So 4 or 5 friends get together and say, you know what, let's do this challenge together, which is what my intention of doing this challenge together was as well. Because what happens is, when you promise somebody else, you'll keep your word. So,
Yeah.
4 or 5 friends come and do it as a challenge and say, okay, let's do 3 days no spend. All right. And then what we'll do is we'll get together and do a Zoom jam session or something, and look at alternatives. Because what happens is there are things you can replace it with. So currently there are a lot of free stuff happening online. So have it as accountability. Bob Proctor says is your success insurance policy, and that helps you the best to do it if you do this in a group.
Definitely.
And share what you're doing, because in the challenge group, what I would have liked is more sharing. So what happened is some people are keeping this stuff to themselves. So when my first day I mentioned that, cancel your subscriptions, there was a lady who's used this, and she's not only gone and canceled her subscriptions, she's taken her team apps and checked what is subscribed that they're not using, and collectively gone and saved a lot of money. Somebody then said, you mentioned online subscriptions, but it made me realize how I'm not using my gym. What do I do? Should I go and cancel my gym membership? So when you share, other people will give you more ideas to share. So, you can start by saying, okay, take the challenge today. Let's save 100 dirhams today. Okay. And go back and say, what can you save 100 dirhams on? What would you have normally done? And say, hey, I saved 100 dirhams today, or I saved a 50 dirhams today. And then you all come and give your ideas, and that will make sure that I may have not thought of it.
Yeah.
But because
Absolutely.
somebody else did it, I will think, and I will go and reduce my spend on something. A lot of financial planners use your coffee example. 20 dirhams a coffee, people at least have 10 to 15 coffees. Somebody has a habit of doing it every single day they walk out. Maybe 2 coffees a day. Just calculate the number of coffees. Even if you were having 10, at 20 dirhams, you're saving that much. Over 3 months, how much do you save? Over 1 year, how much do you save?
Yeah, and I saw in your group one lady sharing we just saved 3,500 on the fuel over March and April.
Exactly.
Stories
Exactly.
like that probably can be inspiring to others.
Yes, people haven't thought of it. So the more we share, because what I believe when I started this group is, this is beyond me. This is beyond, this is a movement. This is something which I started in dirhams, but when I started, I never thought I would get 385 members, which were there this morning. I just started it with, a few of my network would come, but people liked it so much, they've gone and spread it and asked their people from India, from US. I got invited on a call from a lady in the US to do Facebook Live with her, because she loved the challenge idea so much that I realized that I'm going to now make it into dollars and ask people to share with whoever they can, because different people will have different ideas, and as long as we are helping each other, we can show people that if we collectively can do so much, how much individually each of us can do.
All right. So we mentioned review the subscriptions. We mentioned check your daily spends or expenditure which you're saving now. What would be the
Correct.
other tips to people during this time?
The other things is also collecting money, because what's happened is a lot of collections are out in the market, and again, emotions involved with collections. People do not like, because it's the same person you're getting a sale from, people hesitate to ask for collections. Okay. And that's a lot of human psychology, where people don't ask for their money back. They feel, if I push too much, will I lose my client? But it's important to ask for our collections, because it's clearly known that people who, like, the crying baby gets milk. So if you keep asking, you will get something. It's about how you ask. So do it with compassion, do it with, you know don't threaten and ask, but as they say, do ask for your money back. And there's a statistic which says that anytime, even if you make a sale, you need to do minimum 5 follow-ups. So you do 5 follow-ups. You do follow-ups in terms of, and in different ways. People ignore emails a lot of times. You'll send email reminder 1, email reminder 2. Try WhatsApp, try calling, try asking somebody else. And then when you're calling, don't hang up the phone by just saying, okay, I don't have the money. You say, I understand the situation is tight, but our situation is also difficult. How much can you pay? Can we break this and take it into 3 installments or 2 installments, right? How much can you pay? He says, I can't even pay that 1 bit right now. Okay, so when can you pay? Get the next date. So what you're doing is they're committing to you. You're trying to find a common ground. They will give you something, because they also want to do business. So when somebody actually makes a sale, they have in their mind that they want to pay. It's not that people don't want to pay. It's just that make it easy for them to pay. So, like, for example, we didn't have online payments, but we're now considering, can they pay by credit card, which they can convert into installment plans? How can they, do you have an online payment gateway? So new things currently with the same changing scenario, make it easy for them to pay you, and keep having the conversations going.
I would say money collection has been challenged for small businesses even before this crisis, right? In the region,
right.
And now it only grew in importance. And what you're saying, probably to start the conversation and at least speak with your customers can be the first step to make it happen. Expecting that all of the sudden they will start paying, that will probably not happen on its own.
Yeah. See, also another problem a lot of people are facing, right? People are giving you new orders, but not paying for your old orders, right? So then you are at a situation where you're saying, can I, I'm getting business. You want business, but in cash flow and profit is not cash. Okay. It may show you as revenue in your profit and loss statement, but it is definitely not cash. So there's a statistics which say that 82% of the businesses fail due to cash flow. 69% of them were profitable. Right. So now the whole thing is cash is king. It's not considered a sale, because salespeople will go and say, I did a sale. But till the money is not in your account, it is not a sale. So, you have to be cautious, because people have now taken orders after orders till the first payment has not come. Especially when that new order comes in, it's another great time to negotiate and say, we'd like to help you, but we also have payments to make. Help us help you, make partial payment of the previous order, and we can, support you. So you're not saying, I won't give you. It's managing that in conversations that are important. So it's because, again, a lot of money, as I told you before, is about emotion. So handling payments is also has to be handled with care, and being on top of it, not leaving it. So, even if it's like follow-ups after follow-ups, keep following up, because it will come to you, or they will come back and say, we can't pay you. So, yeah.
Do you think, is it the time now to become maybe a little bit more strict with my payment terms as a business? Like, I don't know, require prepayment or something like that?
Absolutely. Prepayment requirement is something we would highly recommend, because, it is See, in a lot of businesses, people feel my customers will not pay me. Okay, so to give you a little background, we're an accounting firm. Initially, when we started, and this was before 2008 recession, we would charge for it after we've done the accounts for the month,
Yeah.
right? So when the last recession happened, we realized that this won't work because then we're keeping on doing the work and not getting paid. So what we did for all our new clients, we started saying we need PDCs, and we started saying we'll give you a discount on your payments. So your negotiation terms become payment terms become your negotiating tool. You want a discount? Yes. And if cash flow is a concern right now, say I'll give you a huge discount, pay me full money upfront, right? So the client that has the money will want to avail the discount and pay you. The others, slowly, that has now become a policy of only taking PDCs, right? Because we couldn't change the old behavior of the customers, but all the new behavior, they didn't even know there was another term available. And it's our belief in our mind that people won't pay. If we shift that a little and start working, and whatever are their fears of paying in advance, and they say, what if I want to cancel in between? You tell them, then we have the agreement of an exit clause. We're not going to hold it or whatever. That kind of an understanding. There will be some fears, address those fears, but I would highly recommend prepayments for everybody.
Mhm. Okay. When I start this conversation with my clients, what would you recommend as a tone of this conversation? Should I be, for example, open and say, look, there's a crisis and we've got serious problems, or should I pretend like nothing is going on and trying to
No,
just
I
trying to
think
get the money?
authenticity and being honest is what will get you, because it's a rapport building. People are aware of the situation. Hiding from it will not help, and that's a ground for negotiation, that we need this to be able to commit our time and our energy and whatever. So sometimes people will say, I won't pay you the full right now. You break it into two and say, give me one upfront payment and give me a PDC for the next one, which is dated 15 days afterwards or 1 month afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You mentioned in the cash flow challenge the business crisis trend, where
Yes.
you draw a U-shaped curve with 6
Yes.
stages the businesses are going through. Can
Yes.
we look
5
at those
stages.
stages?
Absolutely. So, this is uh, this business crisis trend was shared by one of our coaches. So I'm a profit first professional, which is a methodology of actually having cash in hand rather than just on paper. So it's a whole methodology of leveraging human behavior with money. And so when he shared the graph, and I'll walk you through the 5 stages. The first stage was what we discussed. When it hit us, it's like somebody punching your face. So you don't know what to do, and you move to a stage of frozen stage. What happens in this behavior, it is that people get into inaction mode. Okay, and a lot of people do not get out of the inaction mode at all. So some companies will fail to open after this situation has even come up, right? Because they have constantly been in inaction for a long time. They don't know what to do. They feel paralyzed, status quo. So it's important to understand the stage and get unfrozen. But there are also statistics which say that 25% of all businesses in previous crises, nothing like this has happened before at a global stage, have not opened after the crisis. So those are past statistics available. The next stage after that is disorientation. So what happens is, after people have got out from an inaction stage, and somebody is punching you, you're not sure what you're doing. You're like, your head is spinning. You don't know what to do. But because you've been in inaction for so long, what you want to do is take any action. So we would have seen this happen to our friends and to us. Some of the decisions and actions would be, should I go and take all the cash from my bank and keep it? Okay, should I go and remove take cash on my credit cards? Don't know what will happen. Will my limits change? So let me just take right now all the cash from my credit card. Should I go and discount my prices? Should I fire my staff? uh, a lot of these actions people have gone and taken without really thinking it through, because sometimes these could be actions that could also lead to, you could take a big wrong inaction or wrong action in this stage, right? Because you're not thinking straight. You're just taking action. Coming out of this stage is a third stage called evaluation. Since nothing like this has happened before, what's happening is we cannot we cannot make our decisions to coming back out of the situation based on any past data that we've had. None of us will go back in the same way we entered, so what's happened is the data is still coming. It will take 2 to 4 to 5 weeks for the data to come. So it's important, I think, to analyze what's happening. Are we losing clients? Are we gaining clients? Who's buying? Who's not buying? Who's likely to buy when things come up like this? So Mom's World has had 800% increase in this time, right? The travel sector will take time to come back. So understanding which sectors will then move to buying when things happen. So understanding that if your target market was X before you came in, it may not remain X after you come out. You may have to concentrate on people who are willing to buy. And what are they willing to buy? At what price are they willing to buy? We need to relook at pricing strategies, maybe look at small value products with a higher volume. So we need to relook at our product offering. We need to relook at our pricing offering. So, but we can't make those decisions without analyzing the data. These decisions should not be made with our gut. So again, at this stage, a lot of people will make small wrong actions, which any of these three things could lead to a business collapse. So understanding that, making sure we are, looking into it, and there are tools for that, and I've shared some tools as well in my Facebook group to navigate these stages. And then comes a stage where you're going to actually take deliberate strategic action. Once this data
Simran,
has come back.
sorry to cut you here. Before we go to the next step, how can I kind of understand that, okay, this is what's happening to me, that I'm actually maybe overreacting, or I'm taking actions without having it back with data or clear mind?
Yeah. So one of the tools that I suggested was the 10-10-10 method when we are at the desperation stage. Primarily being is that I look at a situation and I say, how will I feel about this decision in 10 minutes, 10 months, and 10 years? So some of the common decisions which people have taken at this time is, should I take a loan? Okay, taking a loan and getting the money in my account might make me feel very good in 10 minutes. Okay, seeing that I have the cash flow. But in 10 months, when I'm actually starting to pay the installments and, I'm still working on my revenue, those installment payments might get difficult for me. In 10 years, it could have led to me taking so much of loan that has affected me mentally or whatever. So I do a smiley, and for different people, it might be different. But I feel, what will it look like for me in those times? The second decision people will take is firing an employee. Okay, should I fire? So I don't feel good about firing. They've been with me for very long. So I feel sad in my 10 minutes of taking that decision or reducing my salaries. But in 10 months, that decision might have been the decision that has helped me survive this period, without which I may not even have a business to pay other people's salaries. And in 10 years, I could have, before that, hired them back. When situations change, it's not like you can't rehire people. The third decision would be in terms of launching a new product, right? Understanding the current market. A lot of things is going digital, launching maybe a digital. Right now, I feel bad because it's a lot of hard work. I don't know anything about payment gateways. I don't know how e-commerce works. I don't know this. I don't know what apps to use, etc., etc. But in 10 months, that would have been the reason I survived also. That may have been a reason I have a new stream of revenue. And in 10 years, that might have got me to a profitable stage and maybe help me sell my business. Who knows? So I look at that, and then I go back and I say, if I proceed with this, what will happen? If I don't proceed with this, what will happen? So just taking a step back and identifying these tools will help. Another tool I shared was the SWOT analysis, which a lot of people generally do. It's known, it's nothing new. But what happens is, now with the climate changing, we relook at our strengths, we relook at our weaknesses, we look at the opportunities the situation is bringing and the threats the situation is bringing. After we've analyzed, we just use the weakness and a threat as a rear view mirror, but we concentrate on the strengths that we have and leverage them for the opportunities that are available. So, relooking at this as a team, as a group of mastermind people working together, because you also need some other people looking at it, because you're emotionally involved in the situation. Using these tools that I've also shared is a small tools, simple tools, but they will help us move further.
Perfect, perfect. So in the business crisis trend, we had the phases. We had first the shock phase, then second was the desperation phase, then the phase of evaluation, and then you were about to tell us
Talk
about
about deliberate
deliberate
action.
action.
Yeah.
Okay.
So after we've done all of this, we need to be very strategic as to how the new business will look for us, how we come out of it, and what are the actions that will take us forward. How do we go to the market? So our decisions on cash flow, our decisions on marketing, our decisions on our target market, our planning, our business plan for the future is important. Now, because again, as I said, the situation is new, we can't plan way ahead. So even if we do a 3-month, 6-month plan, what we need to focus on right now, what we need to do in the next 3 weeks, in the next 3 days, maybe the next 1 hour, that will move us forward. So I also shared another planning tool, which is a 135. So let's look at what will move us a step forward, step by step. So I can share another example, that in an Olympic Games, when there are 3 people standing, a bronze winner, a silver winner, and a gold winner, the bronze winner comes winning from 3 to 4. The silver winner comes losing a gold, and the gold winner is, so the gold and the bronze are smiling, but the silver is sad, right? Primarily because he's lost. It's not that he's won a silver, but he doesn't think of it like this. That's how our psychology works. So let's start by the steps we believe in, we know we can achieve, okay, and take that as our target before we move that moving target forward. So keep doing things in the past that have helped us, and take those small steps, and take those deliberate strategic actions which we know have worked for us in the past, and then try and test what's working and go beyond. So in strategic action also, it's important to bring in an external consultant, start looking at recruiting people that will help in the new you. You don't have to hire. I'm not asking people to take any hiring decisions, but the kind of people that have brought you till here, maybe the new business, the new you would need other kind of people. And there are a lot of people available. So it's a good time to kind of identify who you will need, what qualities would you need, and, work on it at this point of time. In this point of time, it's also important to see in systemizing your business. So automate things. What can you, outsource? Move your variable cost to fixed cost. So can you outsource it instead of keeping it as a fixed cost? Or can you outsource it to outside the country? It doesn't have to be outsourcing here. It depends on what you want to outsource. It's not whether to outsource, but what to outsource. So if you're good at something, don't outsource what you're good at. But maybe you can outsource your marketing, you can outsource your admin, you can outsource your accounting, you can outsource bits and pieces of this, if not the whole thing. But start looking at how you could grow at lower costs. And the 5th stage is the surge or the burst. It's coming. There is a time to pivot for sure for all businesses, but not, and what will happen is when that demand increases, the supply would have reduced. Not all our competitors and fellow people would have come there. Are we then geared to handle our exponential growth and take advantage of it? And which is where all these automation, smart delegation, outsourcing, all this will help us be prepared to grow, because then you can outsource even more. You can, you have strategic partnerships with other people. So building those grounds, being ready in your mind for exponential growth, being there to take the advantage. It could take 6 months, it could take a year, it could take 2 years, but being prepared for it, looking forward. So out of the whole situation, I believe that there are 3 things that come out of it. Currently, plan your protect strategy. So protect yourself to make sure there is business continuance, business sustainability, business durability. Coming from there, plan your pivot funnel. So what is it going to help you pivot when we come out of it? What will help our systems in place so that we can, just go out and go all out? So what will help us to pivot and then work on a profit strategy? Because eventually we will look at, we've had time to analyze and look at profitability, not just sales. So, but at this point, what's more important is the protect strategy. We're still in that stage, but readying ourselves for the pivot funnel, understanding, what are the licenses in Dubai people are taking. So we know e-commerce is going high. In e-commerce, what is going high? So understanding, leveraging, seeing what is happening, collecting as much data as possible. So yeah, preparing ourselves for that is what I would say.
Absolutely perfect. So that's the business crisis trend. Would you be able kind of to explain it on your own company, how you guys handle it, and when you came with this shock, if it affected your business anyway, and what were the actions you've taken?
I would say that it's affected everybody. Okay, it's that I would say there's nobody who's not got affected or who will not get affected. Some of the industries got affected instantly. So our company, we basically a 16-year-old boutique firm. We faced other such situations in the past as well, like the 2008 recession. In this situation, what I would say is yes, we did get affected because we are an outsourced firm that do outsourced accounting services and CFO services for small and medium businesses. So we work with various industries. So some of the industries that got affected directly, we got affected. So some of our clients, fortunately, we've not lost any clients, but we've had to pause work for some of our clients, downsize the scope of work for some of our clients. So because if they're working with the F&B industry or they are into events related businesses, it's a direct impact. So we understand that their revenues are affected. So we've had a conversation with these people. We've continued to communicate with these people. For now, we've paused some of them for 3 months. For some of them, we have reduced the scope because they still want to continue not at the higher scope. For some of them who we were doing a monthly accounting, we've moved to quarterly accounting, just to handle the space, and they have to pay us slightly less, and because of the revenues and because of what's happening in the market. And we've said we'll reevaluate it as the situation goes. But fortunately, because we've been diverse because we work a lot with F&B, so F&B has got affected directly. So that's why we also are re-looking at our target markets when we come back. We will still continue to assist the F&B, but probably with a different product offering, with the challenges that they're facing. So that was one in terms of, so did we freeze? Yes. Does that mean that if we've crossed the frozen stage, we don't go back to a frozen stage? So it happens. We oscillate. So today we said, okay, we've gotten out of the frozen state. We are now, taking actions. But some other client will then come back and say, and you go back and, you think, you go back and then you have to come out of it. So what's personally helped me is I faced this frozen stage when my dad passed away 12 years ago, and it took me a very long time to navigate out of it. So I've used some of those things that have helped me then to help me now. So I do a gratitude journal. I've started writing 100 gratitude for this situation, and I keep adding to it as the days go by. What has also helped me is keeping a joy journal. I've listed all things that bring me joy. So when I'm feeling down, I pick one of them, and it could be probably sketching, it could be probably a music. And there's a particular song that I like from Alicia Keys, This Girl Is on Fire, and I know if I play it and I shift it, my energy shifts by changing my physiology, and I come back and action it. So whatever works for people. I started doing the Hope meditation by Oprah Winfrey and Deepak Chopra. So whatever helps people, maybe surrounding, we have a group of ladies that we meet every month. We have all business owners. It's like a small mini mastermind, and that's a place where we can share our frustrations, cry, and then it's out. So whatever works for people, work with what has helped you in the past in a personal tragedy or a mini crisis. And then what I'm doing is also looking at an online program, which I never thought. So I have 2 certifications, Profit First and Build to Sell. So what I'm doing is I'm going to launch something called Rebuild for Profits, which will be a 3-month program online on rebuilding your business to be ready in September. So this will probably be launched in June. I'm working on the dynamics. I'm going to be hosting a free webinar on it. So again, I've been in the same situation I spoke about. I don't know about payment gateway. I didn't know how online platforms work. I don't know what I'm going to start with. I'm just going to start with PayPal and then build it up. But I think that's a need of what people need. Understand what people need right now. Price it such that a group can come in instead of, I love one-to-one training. I've been coaching clients on this methodology on a one-to-one basis. But right now, if people will not pay that much, we bring it into a group, see how that can work, because you also need a community at this stage of time. So we are also looking at which industries are going to buy after coming back. And we personally believe that while our accounting and bookkeeping was a major part of our business coming into the situation, what will change later on when we get out of the situation will be outsource CFO services, because the bigger companies may have let go of their CFOs
Mm-hmm.
who they were paying 30, 40,000. They still need that assistance on a part-time basis. So they are converting their fixed cost into a variable cost with us. So preparing ourselves to understand which of these industries will have the money to pay, will need our services. It will be a win-win situation for them and for us. And so we're systemizing our outsourced CFO product. We are systemizing a lot of things in our business at this stage, making checklists, understanding, and we have that already, but we're taking it to a notch higher. So we're using this time for a lot of stuff, looking at other payment options for people, because we were only accepting bank transfers or checks. So so we are also looking at all of these to bring about a change in our business at this stage. And we've also taken some of the decisions to help us survive this stage by based on our clients. But constant communication with our clients, being in constant touch with them, I think is key. There's nothing like over communication at a time like this. So again, my cash flow challenge, and seeing the reach beyond what it is, because a lot of people don't talk about money. These are the things we are working on in our business.
Absolutely. So if I rephrase it, and if you replay probably the main takeaway from that, what you just said was this, that you're using the time now to prepare your business for once the crisis is over, or once things are getting slowly to normal, to be ready for how the business and the whole environment will change. And because the needs of your clients, of your customers will probably change. It won't be like it was in February. So you're getting your business ready, so you're ready for the new situation after COVID, basically.
Yes.
Perfect. Amazing. All right. One thing I just noticed on your challenge, if we go back to it a little bit, there's a quote: "Too many people spend money they haven't earned to buy things they don't want, to impress people they don't like." Which is very common behavior in the world of all credit cards, loans on everything, and installments on everywhere. Do you think this crisis will change the behavior?
I truly think that, because if you've seen the shift also, even during the last 2 years, where the economic challenge was there, the number of parties people would throw, the number of stuff people would do, even retail buying right now, the conversations I'm having with a lot of people, okay, they're saying their credit card bills have come down because they're not spending on things they don't need. So right now, earlier, you would not think twice in spending your cards on online buying. Personally, myself also, I was a huge online buyer. Okay, today I will question myself: is it necessary? Is it urgent? Okay, so even if it's not for, not everybody did big spends. So you have, people spend on cars, on homes and stuff. We've all been guilty of it. I won't say that we've not been guilty of similar situations, but coming from this situation, nobody had prepared themselves for the unknown. Now that you know the unknown, cash is going to have a lot more importance. So people will do things, but they will do things in a more how would I say, in a more sensible manner, in a more calculated manner, rather than not thinking. So it would happen. A lot of on the spur buying may shift.
Okay, perfect, amazing. In the end of the interview, I would like to move and look a little bit to your own business, because you mentioned you founded your company 16 years ago, which is quite some time. So I would like to step away from this current crisis and maybe look at a bigger perspective. How did the business change over 16 years in the region?
A lot. So actually, the business was started and founded by my husband, my business partner, Simran Samtani, 16 years ago, and it happened by accident. It purely happened by accident. It wasn't planned. I used to work with Citibank at that time. I'm an ex-banker. I'm not an accountant, but I worked with Citibank for 9 years. So my husband is ex-PricewaterhouseCoopers. He was the first assistant financial controller with the Burj Al Arab, And then he was working for another company where he was a group financial controller, handling the Middle East region. Something happened in that organization that he didn't like, that were not aligned to his values. And, and he was the kind of person who just quit his job without really thinking twice. Okay. But what happened in the company was happening to a lot of people. So he spoke to his then MD, who had sold the company to someone else, and he had a good rapport, saying, I can't work where my values are not aligned. I will not do things that don't approach me. And so he quit without a job. I was still working. So we started looking for things that he would kind of get a new job. At that time, some of the other people in his business did not take a rash decision like him in his company that he was working with. And everybody was planning to leave because nobody liked what was happening there. That company since then has shut down. But at that point of time, somebody approached him and said that I have a consulting organization that I want to prepare before before I quit. So when he started doing work for 1 or 2 assignments like this while he was looking for a job, he says, why don't we start this ourselves? If I can do it for him, I can do it for us. We started as a pure outsourced CFO firm. Beginner's luck, we got some very, very big clients, were highly profitable, but it was a one-man band, right? We just had one more person working with him who would help him with the data entry stuff. Again, to make a long story short, something else happened in our life, and we realized that 80% of our business was coming from one client. And we had to be in India when his father passed away for a longer period of time. And we realized that something like this can't continue. It did continue, they understood or whatever, but we said, like, that's not a business model. If he's not in the business, there is no profit. Like, we can't take long holidays or whatever. So at that time, we changed our business model to having, and we had a lot of people knocking our doors for outsourced accounting. So we kind of then got outsourced accounting involved. But what happened with that is we needed a bigger office, we needed more people. The whole thing of working as a freelance kind of a thing, the profitability, it all shifted, right? So again, it was a different business model. So at that point of time, around that point of time, he wanted me to join him. And I joined him 12 years ago, full time. I used to help him back end on a lot of stuff because I have a marketing background. He has a finance background. We complement each other. Yeah. So that's how we started and moved to a more outsourced accounting firm. And 3 years ago, I realized that I needed to add some more. We started redefining ourselves because it started by accident as to why we are here. What do we want to achieve? And we realized that, and especially with VAT coming in, a whole bunch of accounting firms started opening up to leverage that situation. And we didn't want to be compared on some pricing, which some people came from India and started offering some peanut pricing because they didn't have an office, they didn't have the right people, they wanted to leverage the situation. They've since then left, but they've created this whole thing in the market. And we realized that we don't want to be recognized as a cost to a business. We want to be recognized as for our clients as an investment, taking their business forward. So we realized that we wanted to be a business that talks about helps in the bottom line, growing their bottom line and increasing their profits. And that's how, and I have a passion for training and coaching. I'm an NLP certified, master NLP certified coach. So I started doing this for our business. I got involved with Build to Sell for our business. And when I realized that this could be added to my client stuff, I've got certified on both these methodologies. We are the only accounting firm at this stage in the country that are certified on both Build to Sell and Profit First. For Profit First, so now we have something that we can add more value to our clients. So and that's what my new program is also going to be built on. While we'll be doing one-to-one with our clients, some of them officially, some of them unofficially, because since we have these tools, it's not like all our clients won't get them. They don't get them in a professional manner, in a professional manner, but they don't get it because not everybody's coachable, right? So we introduce it in our methodology. They won't even know it's introduced in our methodology. We do those kind of analysis ourselves. So, but right now we're going to be putting it in a more organized manner. They'll know exactly what they're getting, and we are reconstructing products on that. And my online rebuild for profits is taking proven methodologies. We're not saying we are making a difference. We're using methodologies and stuff that have worked with for 50,000 odd SMEs. So we're using proven technologies to make a difference.
Amazing.
So we've
Amazing.
evolved. We've evolved. Yeah.
Okay. No,
And we'll
amazing
continue to
shift
get more
of the
toolkits. Yeah.
business models. It's amazing to see that you guys are able to shift the moment you see that the customers would need actually something else.
Yeah.
All right, Simran, thank you for that. And let's move to our final question sprint, if you will. It's few questions, just on very short answers. Ready for that?
Ready.
Okay. Let's start with my favorite. What brought you to Dubai? I believe you've been in Dubai over 20 years now.
22. Marriage. Marriage brought me to Dubai.
Okay, simple one. All right. What is the one ritual or thing you need to have during your work day?
What one little?
Ritual or one thing you need to have during each work day?
My planning tool in the morning and my gratitude. I do gratitude every morning. I write, so I do gratitude in a little different manner. I write, 5 things or 10 things that I'm thankful for yesterday. I moved to 10. I started with 3 to 5 to 10. Now I'm adding to my list, but I also write something called prepaid gratitude. I thank 3 things at least for what I want in my today's day to happen.
Okay,
yeah,
that's great. So we have prepayment again here.
Yeah.
What is your favorite business related app or tool you use?
Trello. So there are a lot of apps we use. We also, but Trello has helped me a lot for both my personal planning and my business planning. We work completely, our entire project management is on Trello. Our meetings are based on Trello. I've done my vision board on Trello. So that's what I said. It's Trello is an app that I personally can't live without.
Okay, perfect. And the last one, what do you love the most about Dubai?
Everything. I think everything. I would highly say is, I'm fortunate to live where I can see the Burj Khalifa, and I think watching it tells me that the city, it teaches you to think big, and it teaches you to be a visionary. Nothing is impossible, and whenever I'm feeling down and I have a look at it, and I feel that I am able to achieve a lot more if I just need to have the vision, to believe in myself and do it. And that's what I think this country is. It's taught us that nothing is impossible.
That's very true. Thank you very much, Simran. I believe this was very helpful. And
thank you so much.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
Simran definitely has an inspiring story. Let me just recap 4 things I personally want to remember from this conversation. Number 1 is to review your subscription and calculate how much on expenses you're actually saving. Number 2, start systematically collecting money from your customers, have an open conversation with them, and be flexible. Number 3 is to be mindful of 5 stages Simran mentioned in Business Criss Trend. Are you still shocked, or you're taking only well thought out decisions? And number 4, learn from how Simran's company is planning to shift their services to meet after COVID needs of their clients. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. I'll be happy to hear from you via email podcast@j.co or through our social media. On behalf of our producer Arshak Ismail, thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you very soon.